Hey, what up, you guys? It's your boy, Bo Atheist, and today we're going to talk about politics. I know it's an exciting subject. It's a very, well talked about, rational discussion that people have that is, not given to passions. But really, what I wanted to point out is how we think about politics is really messed up because it's not clear. And so a lot of times people don't know where they actually stand, what they actually believe, or anything like that. And I ran across the Wikipedia articles on the right and the left, and I think it was really illustrating. So let me show you. So on the Wikipedia page for far right politics, it says far right politics are politics further on the right of the left right spectrum than the standard political right, particularly in terms of extreme nationalism, nativist ideologies, and authoritarian tendencies. Sounds pretty bad. This term is often used to describe Nazism, neo Nazism, fascism, neo fascism, and other ideologies or organizations that feature ultranationalistic, chauvinistic, xenophobic, racist, anti communist, or reactionary views. These can lead, I'm just thinking, it's funny that anti communist is on the things like ultranationalist, chauvinist, xenophobic. Like, it's just a terrible thing like that. How can it be bad to be anti communist? The most murderous ideology in the history of the world, with 100 million dead. Anyways, let me continue. These can lead to oppression, violence, forced assimilation, ethnic cleansing, and even genocide against groups of people. Once again, was the Holodomor that the Soviet Union, carried out against Ukraine, was that a right-wing movement? No, it was communists killing 10 million Ukrainians because they were Ukrainian. Anyways, I digress. And even genocide against groups of people based on their supposed inferiority or their perceived threat to the native ethnic group, nation, state, national religion, dominant culture, or ultra conservative traditional social institutions. The horror, the shock. Well, let's find out what it says about far left politics, because I'm sure it points out the evils of communism and statism and just all those terrible things. It's a lot shorter. That's interesting. Far left politics are political views located further on the left of the left right spectrum than the standard political left. The term has been used to describe ideologies such as communism, anarchism, anarcho communism, left communism, anarcho syndicalism, Marxism Leninism, Trotskyism, and Maoism. It's just these dispassionate terms, like it's just making a list of things, let alone Mao murdered the most people in the history of the world. But, whatever. Since 2016, the term alt left has also been occasionally used as a pejorative in the United States to refer to political views, blah, blah, blah. All right, whatever. Really, the point I'm trying to make is it's crazy how it doesn't make any sort of value statement about the left. It's just descriptive. It's just to, describe ideologies that are this. But on the right, it talks about all these terrible things it does, like xenophobia, homophobia, genocide. Like the left has never carried out genocides. It's insane. I mean, is it possible to be too far left? I mean, really, according to this, no, because there's nothing negative attached to it. But it's clearly bad to be far right. And really, I think what helps to clarify this is your boy Aristotle and how he thought about all this. Because he didn't. Well, first off, how we think of the left and right goes back to the French Revolution, where the monarchy, traditional religion people sat on the right, and then the people who were on the left were they were called the Jacobins, but they were the revolutionaries. They were secular. They were the ones who wanted to uproot the system. The whole thing. They were the social justice warriors of their day. But I think Aristotle had a better way of really describing government, where he just talked about three forms of government, and how there's a good form of it and a bad form of it. So if you have a rule of one person, then it's a royalty monarchy. It gets perverted and becomes bad when it becomes a tyranny. The good form of government of a group of people is called an aristocracy. When it becomes bad, it's an oligarchy. And then a good rule of the people is a constitutional government. When it degrades and becomes bad, interestingly, he calls it a democracy. So if we go on here, we get into how Aristotle looked at different societies in Greece at the time to just see how they did, how they organized themselves and everything. And that's how he came up with his three forms of government. I don't know, maybe one day I'll talk more about political philosophy and the ins and outs of it because it is an interesting subject. But the point of today, I just wanted to talk about left and right and how it's not clear how we describe things. And I think it's better to think of things in terms of how Aristotle laid them out, where it's, um, like it says here, it's basically government of one, government of few, government of the many. And the genius of our founders, really following Montesquieu, who was influenced by Aristotle and others, but we mixed all three of these forms of government. If you remember back to your government class, or maybe you never took government, I don't know. Uh, but the point is we have three branches of government. The president is really sort of a king. It's a royalty, it's monarchy, it's rule of one. Government of the few is the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. They're an aristocracy, it's just a group of people. And then lastly, it's the Congress, which is made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives, which is they represent the people. It's the government of the many. And so it's not really a question of left and right. It's what is the form of government and what you're trying to really aim for. What are they working for? And so for Aristotle, the rule of one, it's that one person is aiming for the common good. The group of people, um, you govern according to virtue. And if it's a rule of the people, you it's about a balance between the rich and the poor. It's not about, trying to tear down institutions or, anything like that. And I think that's the strength of the American government is that we don't try and favor the poor. We don't try and favor the rich. We don't try and favor anybody. It's really a sort of neutral playing ground where anybody can. And so, I don't know, I can go on. And like I said, I'll probably just make a political philosophy video that'll be a lot more boring. But I just wanted to make a video talking about these things to show the difference and maybe help give us some language so we can really have a discussion as opposed to just attack one another.